I love Tanya. Tanya is a book that I've studied and I study over and over. I continually get new insights, new exciting ideas that really help me in living my life the way I think that it should be lived. I'm giving my life greater and greater meaning for me. And I think not only for me. So I studied it over and over. Torah is something that, and Tanya is a big part of Torah, an important part of Torah. Torah is something that does two things that are working together in tandem. It describes reality and it creates reality. When I say it describes reality, it's telling me, listen, if you look at things this way, you will get an insight, you will start to perceive a reality which is not the simple physical reality that people often assume that's it, and they're duping themselves, because everybody knows there's more to reality than just seeing a physical world. Everybody knows that reality has a lot to do with that we live inside of ourselves, inside of our personality, inside of our thoughts and our feelings, etc. And deeper than that, inside of our aspirations. And part of living inside of that and getting insight into that is to see how Tanya and how Torah in general create a way of looking at things which you might not have thought of by yourself. Puts a person into a framework where he's able to expand the limits of what we usually think is reality very greatly. From that point of view, I would say that Tanya, Torah in general, Kabbalah in general, is very iconoclastic. It's pushing the person to go beyond his assumptions again and again to discover deeper and deeper and more important realities. And as I said, I love Tanya. It's wonderful. It's a book that is describing and creating truth. I should say, when I study, I don't just accept what's written as something that just look at it and say, okay. When we talk about mysticism, let's say they're talking about angels, they're talking about upper worlds and stuff like that. So I don't just say, oh, angels, okay, upper worlds, sure. I don't accept that. I ask myself, what do they mean? What do they mean? Where can I see angels? Where can I see upper worlds? I don't claim that this is something that one sees with physical eyes. Very likely some people do, but great people. But I do say that one can get a sense of what are they talking about? How are they what are they describing? And again, I say describing. So let's go to the very beginning of chapter 1 of Tanya. The first word of Tanya is Tanya. Tanya means it was learned, meaning that the rabbis studied and they told us something about what their insight produced. And so this is something from the Talmud, and the Talmud, even though it has many, let's call it esoteric passages, etc., but the purpose of studying Talmud and the method is to be very rational, to compare things, to think about them, to find, do I see any contradictions? Do I see any, am I able to identify an approach or a concept that's being described? And so when he starts Tanya, our book, which is it's a mystical book. It's a core book of Hasidic mysticism, and he starts it with the word Tanya. He's saying this is not a book just to say, okay, it's describing this mystical system, mystical reality, and I'll take it and I'll say, good, I accept it. He's saying that's not the idea. The idea is to think into it deeply and to try to figure out what in the world he's talking about. And so the first thing that he quotes in the name of the rabbis, that it was learned, they make him swear, be a righteous person and do not be a wicked person. So immediately I ask myself, who makes him swear? And whom do they make swear? And what does it mean to make him swear? And how do you know all of this? And I can't say that just by reading it the first time I was able to answer some of these questions, but as I said, I've gone over it again and again, and I'll say what it seems to me that it's talking about. So let's start out with swear. They make him swear. An oath, what is an oath? Somebody who takes an oath starts out, hopefully at least, with the intention of fulfilling what he took upon himself. An oath is something that will reside in the person as a commitment to do something, or to be a certain way, or whatever, as here. So it's saying that this is something that was sworn about. Who swore about it? So, okay, the commentaries say this talking about the person before he's born. And how do we know that he took an oath? So it's obvious that if he took this oath before he's born, what does it help for anything? It helps only for how is he going to be when he's born and during his lifetime. So there's this idea that the person has in himself a commitment to be a righteous person, to live the right way, to be a good person, to not be an evil person. So now, if that's the case, why are we not all righteous people? Well, let's look at what an oath is. If somebody took an oath, does that guarantee that he's going to do what he took an oath about? It certainly does not. Hopefully, seriously, if the person is a person who takes his word seriously, he will try, and he intends, and there's something in him that really is committed to it. And not only may things happen that are beyond his control, that will prevent him from doing what he swore to do. But also he might by himself be lax. He might even regret. Now, when he regrets, if he took an oath and he meant it, so if he really meant it at the time, so something inside of him is still saying, no, I do want to be a righteous person. So the rabbis are working backwards, and they're saying, since we see in a person, and this is something that they're saying, this is a description of reality. There's something inside of every Jewish person that he wants to be a good person. He wants to live his life right. He wants to have a good effect on his world. He wants to be himself on the inside. He wants to be wise and truthful and caring and dedicated, and he wants that to come into practice as well. And there's something in each one of us that wants to do that. So then they ask the question, where does it come from? Why does a person have that? Do animals have that? Doesn't seem to be. Why is there something in a person that cares about ideals? That thinks about himself as what would be the ideal of what I could be? So one of the things that they're saying is this happens in the process of his soul coming into the body. What in the world does that mean? It means that there is a process of the development, let's call it, of the embryo, of the human embryo, that matter, mainly organic matter, is assuming greater and greater detail a certain form, a human form. So, besides that the person is developing skin cells and stomach cells and nerve cells and bone, etc., besides that, they are taking a form which is different from pure material, is different from the form of other creatures. And they're saying that there's something innate in that form which is a commitment to be a righteous person. A commitment to the ideals of do the best you can, at least. And the best you can. Really do it. Really, really do it. And that's something that's in the person. And where did it come from? It came from, so they say they made him swear. The angels made him swear. What does it mean, the angels? So we learn in the holy books that the angels are the messengers to make things happen in the world. The messages of God. And these messengers, so they carry out their instructions. So there are messengers that are directing the formation of the human body, the human embryo, which will also have in it a consciousness, a mind, feelings, a human psyche. This is all innate. What does it mean, innate? There's some sort of process happening, let's call it from above, which the rabbis are saying that's called angels, meaning that there's a process going on that is making the original material and genetic matter form into a conscious being, a human being. And part of that, innate in that human being, is the commitment, the oath, be a righteous person and don't be a wicked person. So who is they? What does it mean, the angels? It means the messengers, the way that Hashem makes things work in the world, the way that God makes things work in the world, that in the nature of the matter, of the genetic matter, together with the nutrients, etc., there's something in that makes it come out as a conscious, a conscient human being that is developing first in the womb and then is born in such a way that innate in him is the commitment to be righteous, and is born in such a way that it is a commitment, it is part of him, and it might be that he won't do it. He won't manage. Might be that he won't be able to live up to his ideal self. But to understand that is something that is happening with us, within us. One of the most central ideas in the Tanya is that we have a godly soul and we have an animal soul. As he describes later on in this chapter, the godly soul is what we've been describing now. The part of the person that says, I want to be righteous, I want to be good, I want to live the life that's most meaningful, the most significant, the best that I can.